live on YouTube. So if you want to go to YouTube, it's at my YouTube, Michael Dotterer YouTube. So if anyone wants to watch the live stream, we're going to record it. And then there we go. And I'm just going to have to mute it because it comes on here. Yep, it's muted. Perfect. And then now we're going to hit Judge. We're going to hit the record button here. So here we go. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. This is Michael Dotterer, and I could walk outside and tell you it's sunny Northern California, but actually we're going to be going out to sunny Florida in just a few minutes, and I'm really, really excited. I want to welcome everyone to On the Dot, and we have Judge Bench on the Dot today, and this is brought to you by Club Nirvana. That's our logo. And I wanted to, the reason I came up with On the Dot, I wanted to do it just like Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. And, that was animals. Well, we are cannabis, and it's brought to you by Club Nirvana. So that's the theme. And again, my name is Michael Dotterer, and I am so excited because a week ago Saturday, I had the honor and the privilege to meet, and I'll start with Jan Bench, because Jan Bench, we wouldn't be on the phone if it weren't for Jan Bench. So I'm going to say Jan Bench and her amazing husband, Judge Doug Bench. And let me just tell you a little bit about Judge Bench. Judge Bench is, and I'll just give you a little brief background. He was born in Alliance, Ohio. And it's in 1945. So he was born the year, and I've been to Hiroshima, the year at the end of World War II, which was he came in with he came into this world at a time where, a lot of things were happening. It was the end of World War II. And he went to college. He got his degree in physiology, it's interesting because he became a doctor of jurisprudence. He got his undergraduate at Kent State in physiology, and then he got his doctor of jurisprudence, which is your law degree, from the Ohio State. And when I heard that he went to the Ohio State, I asked him, I said, well, Judge Bench, I played football at Stanford and I played in the horseshoe. And Judge Bench said, really? Well, my father played for the Cleveland Browns. So we just hit it off because Judge Bench knows American football, and the center of American football is Ohio. So anyway, Judge Bench went on to practice law, and then he became a judge. And he was a judge from 1981 to 1986. And it was in Dayton, Ohio, which is a big city in Ohio. And he incarcerated, or he came down 311 people he put in jail because of cannabis. And I don't want to steal his story because I want to be real brief, but in any event, he then went back into private practice, and he and Jan retired in Florida. So I'm going to stop there and let Judge Bench tell the rest of the story. Judge and Jan, are you there?
I'm here.
We are here, Michael. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you and to share. My story, longtime prohibitionist. Thought marijuana was horrible. When I was a judge, we got sent to judicial college. They told us all the horrible things about cannabis and marijuana. And in Ohio in the 80s, the law required mandatory sentences if people were in possession or trafficking in marijuana. We had to put them in jail for a given amount of time. We didn't have much of an option. And of course, we were taught at that time that it was horrible and wrong. And I maintained that attitude about it right up through 2015, to be honest with you. Back in 1999, I grounded my youngest son for a year, believe it or not, when I found cannabis in his sock drawer. And I thought he was lying to me about his use of it. he said, Dad, all I can tell you is when I take the cannabis or smoke the marijuana, my stomach doesn't hurt. I thought he was lying. I didn't find out till long later. My son had colitis and irritable bowel syndrome, and cannabis relieves those diseases. And I didn't know it. So I grounded him his senior year in high school. What a stupid, idiotic thing to do. But in 2015, I was diagnosed with a terminal disease, COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. And pretty scared. I was in the hospital for a while. And as we left the doctor's office, when he told me that it was terminal and that I had on average 20 months to live, he pulled my wife aside and told her, you need to get his affairs in order. And that made my wife very, very angry. And this woman sitting right here beside me saved my life, because she wouldn't take his diagnosis at its word. She was also at the time interested in essential oils, which is very important, because she went looking on the internet in April of 2015 for some type of essential oil that might help my symptoms of COPD, the wheezing, the hacking, the coughing, the inability to sleep, and can't walk up 3 or 4 steps without having to stop and take a deep breath. But she got on her computer and really unbeknownst to me for 4 months, did extensive research looking for some answers. And what she found, thank you, Lord, was the quintessential essential oil. She found that cannabis oil would help with COPD. Now, she knew her husband, that's me, was a prohibitionist. So you know what she did, Mike? She lied to me and said, I have to go to Colorado. We had a ranch in Colorado at the time because there's a big seminar on horses. And I want to go to that seminar. I said, okay. And the real truth is her goal was to get some cannabis oil because it was legal in Colorado. She went to Colorado in 2015, went to a dispensary in Boulder, bought some cannabis oil, brought it back on the airplane to Florida, committing many felonies, actually, and told me, I want you to take this. And I said, what is it? She said, doesn't matter what it is, just take it. I said, no, that's marijuana, isn't it? She said, well, yes. And I essentially told her to get the HELL out of my house and to take that with her, that was illegal. That was my attitude. But my wife, thank goodness, is very stubborn. And she said for 7 days, 6 or 7 days, she said, you're going to take this. I said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Finally, on day 7, she packed a suitcase, came down the steps and said, you're either going to take this or I'm leaving you. Oh, boy. I thought she was kidding. Then she dropped the F-bomb and said, F, I'm not leaving you. And I said, okay, how do I take it? Will I get high? Because I knew nothing. And that night, sitting on the edge of the bed, I took the tiniest of drops of the oil. It was in a syringe that she had got in Colorado. And I put it under my tongue and I waited for something to happen. And I waited and waited. And my wife was standing beside the bed. And I said, honey, am I acting silly? Am I giggling? Am I stupid? What's going on? She said, honey, you've been asleep for 8 hours. The first time you slept 8 hours in over a year. I said, you're kidding me. She said, no. I said, okay, I'll do another drop tonight. And that was the beginning. And that started in October, first week of October of 2015. And I took a drop every night under my tongue. I hated it. I wanted to quit after a couple of weeks. I said, I'm quitting this. It tastes like crap. She said, no, you're not quitting. Put on an Altoid or a Tic Tac or a gummy bear or something. So I've used Tic Tacs. I've used gummy bears with a drop of the oil that I put under my tongue. I started feeling better. The wheezing went away. The crackling in my voice went away. My strength started coming back. And in In February of 16, I went back to that doctor that diagnosed me and had him do all the same tests that he did some 6 months before. And he was perplexed because he saw no symptoms of COPD anymore. And he said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. I said, well, I'll tell you the truth. I'm using cannabis. I'm committing a felony every day, and I don't care. I'm not stopping. I'm getting better. And that was the beginning of my total recovery. My wife had notebooks, Michael. She had notebooks, I don't know, 6 or 8 of them, 6-inch ring, 3-ring notebooks full of research she had gotten off the internet. She since put that on our Facebook page called Rethink Green. And she's educated me about cannabis. And in November of 16, the state of Florida passed a constitutional amendment allowing the use of cannabis for medical purposes. And my wife and I started teaching everybody we could about the benefits of cannabis, because everybody in my circle was against it. Thought it was horrible, thought it was a gateway drug, thought it would lead to heroin, thought it would lead to crack, and all these lies that we've been told for 70, 80 years. So we started doing seminars all over the state of Florida. We've gone all over the country speaking now, raising the educational factors about how cannabis can benefit in nearly 100 different ailments. So it's been quite a journey, and we're going to continue to educate people as long as we possibly can. It's amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Judge. I want to let everyone know that you can find, again, Judge Bench and Jan Bench, rethinkgreen.org, rethinkgreen.org. And it says here, it's a time to rethink cannabis. Our mission is to help people rethink what they know about cannabis. We do this through research, education, advocacy, and recommending the best products. Cannabis is a medical miracle, and everyone should have access to its amazing benefits. So with that said, I have a few questions, Judge and Jan, and let's start with Jan. Mm-hmm. Jan, one of the issues that people have, I would say maybe half the population approximately still doesn't fully understand cannabis, is afraid of it. And when you meet someone, you have maybe 30 seconds to try to get them to change their paradigm and to open up. And what would you say, Jan, to someone to try to get them to, in a short way, try to open up their mind if they're against cannabis?
Okay, if you look at the statistics, over, 30, almost 40 of our states have some form of legalization, whether it's medical or medical and recreational, or a responsible adult use. So that in itself right there, a majority of our citizens in the United States live in close proximity to access to legal cannabis. You see the benefits of it every single day. For me, I think a really good place for people to start, people that are totally against it, let them try a topical application, CBD, THC combination for arthritis or whatever. They're going to feel the benefit without having to ingest it, because a lot of people are still afraid they're afraid that they're going to become a monster or become addicted immediately as soon as they put it in their mouth or whatever. But a topical is a really, really good place for people to start, because they can feel the benefit almost immediately for any kind of localized pain or eczema, psoriasis, any kind of skin conditions like that.
And Mike, not to interrupt you, sweetheart, but I would answer that in 3 words: educate, educate, educate. We have got to educate people. People don't know. time and time again in our seminars, the people that our seminar come up to say, man, I wish I'd have known this sooner. My mother died of leukemia or lymphoma or whatever. And people don't know the fact that this is a miracle medicine. And we've got to share that information with people. So step one, have an open mind, listen to what people that are using it medically have to say and how it's helped them, which is exactly what we do. Educate, educate, educate.
Well, thank you, Jan and Judge Bench. That was outstanding. And I just got a couple more questions. We've got about 3 minutes left on our 20-minute podcast. What we will do is if anyone wants to stay on and ask questions, Jan and Judge Bench, will you be available to answer questions?
Sure.
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
Great. Well, thank you. And actually, we have our founder of Club Nirvana is on the line. So we're going to bring him in just a few minutes here as well, Tom Yerrick. So the second question, you kind of answered it earlier, Jan. Where are we today with cannabis? I mean, what and Judge, where do you think the state of cannabis is today?
Well, I would say number one, which is very encouraging to me, it has become somewhat mainstream in the stock market. There are cannabis companies stock trading on the New York Stock Exchange, over the counter, and in Canada, and that has helped propel investment into the cannabis companies to do research and to create new products, et cetera. So I would say, I hope, you went and gave my year of birth. So I'm 74 years old. I hope in my lifetime I see it totally legally in every state, medically and responsible adult use, because even if somebody's using it as an adult recreationally, it's medicine for them. They may not know it, but it is. And I would just hope that nationally it becomes legal across the board in every state in my lifetime, which is, it's got to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. And I think we're going to get there. It's just a matter of education. For the first time ever, we saw a bill voted on the floor of the House of Representatives in Washington, where they authorized cannabis companies to use banks and allowed banks to take money from cannabis companies, which was never allowed before. So that's a step in the right direction. There'll be legislation within the next year or so to legalize it nationally. The Farm Bill just passed December, legalized hemp and hemp CBD countrywide, which is a wonderful thing. And as long as we keep educating, I think it's going to happen in my lifetime, which is marvelous. We're going to save a lot of lives.
It's really exciting. And, Judge, that's what I wanted to be part of. Is my background is education. And here I am, at age 58, involved in a company like Club Nirvana that we're focused on education. And with that, I'd like to bring in the founder of Club Nirvana, because he may want to ask a few questions and tell it. And I guess the question before he comes on, we've unmuted his line right now, but I want to ask you, why have you decided to join with Club Nirvana? What do you see with what we're doing, Tom Yerrick's doing with Club Nirvana?
Well, number one, especially in today's world, with this issue over vaping and black market vape pens that people are using and getting injured with, if not die from the use of, Club Nirvana tests the products that they market, and you can be assured that their products at Club Nirvana are the best and aren't going to be tainted products. That's one thing. But for me personally, it was the education. I don't know, Jan, what's your thoughts on that?
I think a club like Club Nirvana gives people not only access to quality products, but it takes away the fear factor. If you've never been in a dispensary before, it can be quite intimidating, really scary to walk into a dispensary, especially, like the largest demographic of new users of cannabis is 50 and older. And a lot of us have never been in a dispensary in our lives. So, you take somebody 50, 55, 60 years old going in a dispensary for the first time, you're scared half out of your mind because you've been told your whole life you're going to hell or whatever. So, I mean, it's a very intimidating, scary thing to think that you're going to ask the wrong question, you're going to look stupid. But a place like Club Nirvana is a safe place. You're getting quality products. You're surrounded by like-minded people that are giving you a wide array of good quality products. So you don't have to walk into a dispensary. You don't have to be intimidated or fearful that you're going to look stupid. So for me, that's huge. The first time I walked into a dispensary in Boulder, Colorado, I was scared to death.
Even though you knew it was lawful.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, totally lawful in Boulder. I was still afraid because I was afraid of looking stupid, afraid of afraid of what people were going to think of me, an old lady walking into a dispensary. So yeah, a place like Club Nirvana is safe. Not only quality products, but it's a safe environment.
Well, that's a good time to bring in Tom Yerrick. Tom's our founder, and thank you, Jan. That was awesome, and thank you, Judge Bench. And Tom, you got the floor with Jan and Judge Bench.
Well, thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. And I got to tell you, Judge and Jan, I'll tell you, every time I hear you guys, it's very inspirational, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to help us out and educate people out here, because really that's the main goal, is to really try to make people rethink what cannabis does for them.
Right.
But real quick, we've been on the call for a while. I do want to touch on just a couple things. We are doing a big event this Saturday in San Jose at the Fairmont Hotel, starting sharply at 10 a.m. I'd like to welcome anybody to come join us out there. Just real quick, my background actually is in real estate, and I kind of ended it up into this industry. My attorney got me involved, and what happened was I ended up getting a bunch of properties with some cannabis tenants in there, and I found out that they made these fantastic products. So I took some of these products home with me and gave it to both my wife and my son, and I found out that the products were absolutely fantastic. So after learning a little bit more about the products and learning about my tenants and how they made the products and everything, I decided we needed a platform where we could go out and we could basically become the Nordstroms of cannabis. So we can take high-end products and deliver them discreetly to anybody who wants to get the products. And the really nice thing about that is not only are we educating people about health and wellness, but in mind, body, and spirit, but we're also going to be able to, educate you a little bit on creating a new revenue stream as well. So the cool thing is, I was talking to my attorney yesterday, and he told me somebody, a mutual acquaintance of ours, was buying a dispensary for $2 million. And I thought to myself, well, gosh, $2 million to buy a dispensary, and he's going to have to probably work there, 8-10 hours a day, 5-6 days a week. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to do that, just take advantage of the green gold rush. So we've set up a system where, now you can actually, get your little piece of the green gold rush as well. So you can help yourself out financially as well. Maybe if you got to put a kid through school, you have a health problem, something just got to pay off, we can offer you a new revenue stream for that. And that's why we really wanted to set this up, because, in the past, I was fortunate enough in real estate that a buddy of mine that I went to college with, him and I had a pretty successful company. But with this, now I'm able to go out there and work with multiple people, multiple friends, and we're out there enjoying life together. So I would like to invite you guys to come this Saturday to the Fairmont at 10 o'clock. It's going to be an amazing day. Starts at 10. We're going to talk about basically just educating people on the positive side of cannabis. But again, I want to thank you, Judge, and your lovely wife for showing up today. We really do appreciate it. It means so much to us. You guys are truly an inspiration, and I will talk to you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom. Well, we love doing it.
Hey, this was fantastic, Jan, and thank you, and Judge Bench, and thank you, Tom. And what we're going to do right now, I'm going to turn off the live YouTube stream, and I'm going to do that